not everything is going to translate to online. Um, think about what resources you have available to you and think how you can use those resources, whether that be in the current line of work that you do or in another line of work.
So joining me on the line today, I've got Alex Kain from the Human Pixel. Welcome to the call, Alex.
Thanks, David. Thanks for having me.
Maybe start by giving us a bit of who you are, what you do.
Well, who am I? Alex Kain, CEO of Human Pixel for the last couple of years. Come from a background of IT, tech, ran an ISP business for about 20 years. After that, had a startup around artificial intelligence, kind of like Siri for driving.
Okay.
And now sort of pivoted into a software development company. So Human Pixel, we do CRMs, we do custom web development, AI, chatbots, all the fun sort of stuff.
Awesome. So the ultimate propeller head, hey?
Yeah, that's me.
Fantastic. So look, obviously we're well into the COVID, I'm not going to call it a crisis anymore. We're just going to call it the journey.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about what you guys are doing to navigate what's going on.
Well, it was really interesting because when COVID first hit, I guess we, like everyone else, were wondering what the impact was going to be.
Yeah.
Signed up for JobKeeper, did all the things there. We embarked on a marketing campaign around reaching out to old prospects and just basically created a video and said, look, we understand it's a tough time for business. You may or may not have gone ahead with a project with us in the past, but we'd now like to take the opportunity to make an offer to you with a discount, with an effort to actually moving forward on some of those projects that you might not have had the time to get around to. And we did have some people take up that offer.
Interesting, isn't it? So the whole thing that it did is slow a lot of the economy down. But part of that's really going back into planning and into addressing sort of issues that haven't been addressed for a long time.
Well, it's a great opportunity for companies to look inside themselves.
Yeah.
Just hit a bit of a pause button. I'm sure you've heard it many times before. So I think, companies went one of two directions with us. It was either they put projects on hold, just said too much uncertainty, don't know what's going to happen.
Yep.
And others just said, well, hang on a minute, let's take this time to actually get stuff done. So lots of ducks in a row kind of stuff. And we saw a huge uptake in projects, unlike anything that we had seen previously. So, yeah, amazing.
Fantastic. So tell me about Insight. So what opportunities do you see for business right now, like with the way things are at? Because obviously we're sort of moving in and out of this lockdown scenario. We've just been voted the best place for COVID in the city, in the country. Victoria's doing a great job.
We have a great reputation and we can only build on that, I believe.
Yeah.
When I said I wanted to go viral, that's not what I had in mind. Look, I think the opportunities are there, either industry-based opportunities, and I think that's, there are many businesses that are taking advantage of the current situation.
Yeah.
It's also an opportunity to pivot and to reflect on your business and is everything working in the best possible way that it can be working. And I think a lot of businesses are doing it, and that's why we're seeing an increase in business, because the opportunity to reflect and systemize and get all your processes right for when business does take off again is what we're seeing this moment to really be about. And people are personally seeing it as a time to hang out with family and rediscover what's really important. And I think taking that same opportunity in business is really critical as well.
Do you have any exciting projects that you can tell us the inside workings of?
Look, we've got a few exciting projects at the moment. We're developing some chatbots at the moment for some organizations which will handle a lot of queries that they really don't have the human resources to do. And also time of day is a really big thing, because people just want answers to things now. So having a chatbot that can do that is can really change how a business operates. So we're seeing that as a real trajectory right now in our business, that AI is really playing a big part.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have heard the term AI, but they don't understand how it applies to a business. So, I mean, like in our business, like where would you see AI being beneficial?
Look, it can play a part in many different areas.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the key things that we do in our business is really analyze a business first before we even think about what a solution might look like. But you know, everything from being able to provide that kind of information in time, also being able to use algorithms to make assessments on things based on other criteria. You know, right now, a website, for instance, doesn't even need to be a static thing. If we understand who's visiting the website, the information that can be displayed, even on a particular product page, can be quite different to a user based on what we know about them. So just using AI to actually generate more personalized experiences is really important now.
And I think the expectation is that, I mean, if I go to a website and I click the contact me button, I almost expect the phone to ring immediately.
Yeah, exactly. And look, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but we're living in a world where everything is instant gratification. And so if you can't service your clients now when they need it, whether it's 11 o'clock at night in bed with a laptop, then someone else will.
Yeah, fantastic. So let me ask you, on a personal level, what personal lessons are you taking out of this current environment?
Look, I think for me personally, it's really about what's important. You know, what's important personally, but also looking at my team. You know, we had to really think about how does our team get through this? How does this impact them, and how can we assist them? So, you know, being in IT, a lot of our team work remotely from home or wherever, so it hasn't really impacted the day-to-day work. But in their own areas, you know, different parts of the world, they have had restrictions that are, you know, impacting on their lives as well. So being sensitive to that has been really important for us also to work as a big family.
Right. Okay. So look, on a broader note, I'm interested in the best piece of business advice you've ever received. And you knew this was coming.
I knew this was coming. Yeah, I remember one of my early mentors. It was really about being true to yourself. And I know even when I've been at some of your presentations, David, it is about being authentic, and it's about being true to who you are as a brand and as an individual as well. And I know you've talked about, you know, not every client is a good client, and, you know, not every deal is a good deal. And I think being actually present to that and not trying to just take any business is probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned. Be prepared to sack clients, you know, be prepared to get rid of things in your business and in your personal life that are toxic. And I think it makes all the difference when you do that, and you feel the relief when you've done that. So again, finding the right match for your staff, your clients, everything is so critical. We just hired a new HR person this week, and, you know, she was asking, what is it about your business? Tell me. And, you know, and we had to say, look, it's about everyone's got to be part of the family. Everyone has to fit in with our culture, and our culture is about you know, who we want to service, how we want to service them. And, you know, in our name, Human Pixel, the pixel is, you know, all the digital work that we do, but we have a real focus on the human element and how everything we build impacts all the different stakeholders. And that's how we try and differentiate ourselves. There are lots of software development houses. We just try and focus on the human element of that.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. So let me ask you your favorite book.
Now, I knew you were going to ask me this one. And here's the scary truth. The scary truth is I don't read books. Okay. All right. And the scarier truth is when I was in HSC, I paid my sister to read all my books for me and tell me what they were about.
Okay. What was your favorite book that your sister read and told you about?
Oh, look, I have read, 5 Minute Manager and all those. I have read some books. I get most of my information online, from tech stuff and audio books and Simon Sinek and a whole lot of those sorts of things. So I'm very, very much into those. But as a rule, I don't tend to read books. I just don't have the patience. I just like to get it all as quickly as I can get it.
So favorite author or person on internet that you follow at the moment?
Who do I follow? Simon Sinek would be one of them.
Yeah.
I just like his take on it, and from that whole human perspective, I like how he thinks.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. So last question for you: the one piece of business advice you would give to someone right now?
Look, I have mentored a few people in the current climate, and a number of them say, well, how can I take my business online, and how can I take what I do maybe in events or whatever and do them on Zoom calls, or how do I take parties and do online parties? How do I do that? And my answer is, not everything is going to translate to online. Think about what resources you have available to you, and think how you can use those resources, whether that be in the current line of work that you do or in another line of work. And one example is a friend of mine does events. He's got an event space. And I said, look, you can't have groups of people anymore gathering together. What can you do with that? And I said, why don't you see if you can rent out that space for storage? And that's what he did. He went online and he got pallets of stuff stored in there, and he was making money from an otherwise empty space. So it's just thinking differently with what you've got. What can you possibly do right now?
Yeah, and I suppose that's one of the concerns I have when people talk about pivoting their business and going online. It's not a one shoe fits all scenario. I think there's a symbiotic relationship between being online and being offline. So the example we use is when we run events here, our email open and email conversion rate is very low at the moment because people are getting spammed to death.
Yeah.
And so we're finding that the telephone's working more effectively now than it did pre-COVID.
Yes.
People are in isolation and they like to talk to a human. So we sort of just hybrid things rather than just going black or white. And I think what you're suggesting is true. It's not one shoe fits all. It's, you can use online as an element, but you might have to sort of be more creative about what you do and just really work out how can I apply my resources to the current environment. Yeah,
absolutely. And that lends itself to creativity, which we've all seen a lot of that come about through this period of time as well.
Awesome. Well, Alex, I appreciate your time. It's been great to have a chat.
Thanks, David, for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Catch up soon.
Cheers.